Cultural Differences with Ryan Santana, Sustainability with Victor Nice, Technology with Rob Allen, Personal Reflection with Rob Crimson. It's the Channel 9 News at 6 o'clock.
Welcome to the 6 o'clock news on Channel 9. I'm Rob Crimson, and our top stories tonight concerning the events management industry are cultural differences, sustainability and technology. Following our current affairs reports will be a reflection segment on the social media lecture and tutorial given as part of the Contemporary Issues in Events course. But first, we go to our roving reporter Ryan Santana for a discussion on the cultural issues found within the events industry. Over to you, Ryan.
Thanks, Rob. I'm here exploring the cultural differences between countries that are involved in events. Several definitions of cultures have been offered throughout history, and one such definition that is given by Hofstede, who states that culture is the collective programming of the mind that distinguishes members of one group or category of people from another. In other words, culture can be seen as the qualities, actions or characteristics that are displayed by one particular set of people that differ from other groups, in which they can include everything from dietary requirements to music tastes to etiquette. Within the event industry, it is important to understand and appreciate the difference between cultures, as it is to have an effect on business relationships and how staff communicate and act with one another. The different types of culture behaviours that exist have been researched by Lewis, who created a model that categorised countries into three types of culture, which were either multi-active, linear active or reactive. Multi-active cultures tend to be emotive, chatty and more relaxed than their linear active counterparts, whom are more reserved, organised and precise. Reactive cultures, on the other hand, are more likely to be very polite, listen intently before speaking and open to compromise. In Lewis's model, countries are plotted on a triangle depending on their culture type. This model shows that some countries have a very defined set of behaviours, whereas others may be a mix of two culture types. For example, countries such as Brazil are seen as multi-active, Vietnam as reactive, and Germany as linear active, but India is situated halfway between being multi-active and reactive. As the event industry operates worldwide, it's useful to know about the types of cultures of people that you may find yourself dealing with in order to make the best impressions on them and secure a good working relationship. Some actions that are commonplace in one country may be irregular or even offensive in others, so this must be taken into consideration when dealing with other cultures. For example, in China, a reactive culture, business cards are given and received with both hands as a sign of respect, whereas in the United Kingdom, a linear active culture, business cards are usually given and taken in a less formal manner with only one hand. These kinds of gestures may seem almost insignificant to us, but they are extremely important to other cultures. Countries hosting mega events such as the Olympics will attract a global audience, so again must take cultural issues into consideration. For these multicultural events to run smoothly, a balance must be found that makes visitors feel welcome and comfortable in the country, but also experience new things. The Cultural Olympiad that ran alongside the 2012 Olympic Games allowed artists from any country participating in the Olympics, such as Brazil and Somalia, to engage in art projects across the UK and therefore promote their cultural heritage, whilst working with British artists and having their work seen by multiple other countries. This concept of people from different countries and backgrounds working together is extremely important to keep these kinds of events diverse and accessible to many different types of people. Another cultural consideration for the events industry is diversity training within the workplace. This practice has both been praised and criticised by academics for various reasons. On the positive side, Maguire and Baguer described the motivations of organisations using diversity training as trying to create a diverse business that helps to shape the actions and views inside and outside of the company. This view of diversity training sees it as constructive and changes the company for the better, as it takes into consideration the culture of each employee and therefore values them as an individual as well as a part of a team. However, others suggest that diversity training actually brings racial prejudice issues by alienating people into different categories rather than as one inclusive team. As the event industry has to work to time constraints, has a high turnover of voluntary staff, and are even defined as temporary and purposive gatherings of people, there is the question of if diversity training is worthwhile. It seems that, instead of pointing out the differences in cultures of staff members of a company, it would be more effective to train staff as a team and teach them to work alongside people of different cultural origins, but only if it is essential for the company to do this training. The final issue being discussed is cultural traditions changing or adapting to the ever-evolving events industry. An example of this is the Holi festival. Holi originated as a religious Hindu festival in India and an important holiday in their culture. However, in recent years it has become popular across the world in both Hindu and non-Hindu countries, with several events set up worldwide to celebrate the occasion. This event has become accessible to many cultures thanks to the Holi Concept Company, who operate the Holi Festival of Colours Tour, which has been to over 14 countries since its inception in 2012. At this event, attendees can participate in the tradition of throwing colourful powder at each other, whilst also enjoying a concert and getting food and drinks. Whilst it is encouraging that these types of cultural events are being shared with different cultures to where it originated, it seems that some aspects may be lost when occurring in other countries, such as the religious elements of the Holi, as well as the traditional bonfire that precedes the festival. It seems that in order for a specific cultural event to be successful in other cultures, the event must be simplified and both enjoyable and understandable for its audience. I've been Ryan Santana, reporting to you on Culture for Channel 9 News.
Thank you, Ryan, for that informative report. We now go to our sustainability correspondent, Victor Nice.
Sustainability is an important issue within the events industry, as the impact that events have on the environment and the community can be far-reaching, and also alter the conditions for future use. In order for events to be sustainable, they must be environmentally, socially, and culturally responsible. This topic is hotly debated within the industry, as some believe that introducing sustainable measures costs the company more money than less sustainable measures, whereas others believe it will save their company money by reducing things such as waste and pollution. There is also the issue of whether customers of events adopting sustainable practices are even aware of the company doing so, and if they are not, is it all just for show? This leads to the topic of greenwashing, defined as misleading information given to customers by a company that presents themselves as environmentally responsible when they may actually not be. This dishonesty stems from companies wanting to look green and appear conscious about the environment, whilst potentially having detrimental practice such as large carbon footprints or producing large amounts of waste. Some companies want to look more green by using one progressive action to compensate for a destructive action, such as those mentioned previously. While this is a step in the right direction by actually putting measures in place, it seems that for companies to actually be green, they must use sustainable measures from the start and be upfront about their practices to their customers. Environmental impact assessments are a vital tool in the planning process of events, as they help to implement sustainable measures when producing an event. However, they are not used by all event companies, and Getz believes they should be used both before and after an event to measure the impact of an event that it has had on the environment. There are certain event industry standards that have been introduced in Britain, such as the BS 8901, to ensure that product or services produced within the UK meet national benchmark sustainability standards. This is then applied through 3 phases of an event, to plan, measure and evaluate the sustainability of an event and make sure that it has not negatively affected the environment. This standard was applied to the 2012 Olympic Games to minimise any negative impact caused by supply chains. The international version of BS 8901 is the ISO 20121, which helps event organisations across the world make sure that their events are as sustainable as possible. Sustainable schemes that can be considered for use in events are things such as recycling, monitoring carbon footprints when travelling, conserving water and energy resources, minimising waste and pollution, saving paper or using paperless technology, and raising awareness for the environmental issues. An example of an event that has used sustainable techniques is Latitude Festival, which has been awarded a 3-star industry green rating for its environmentally friendly practices. The festival features both a composting and recycling scheme, as well as information on how to reduce carbon footprints when travelling to and from the event. Attendees are given a campers waste kit to promote waste management, with an incentive to bring a full bag of recyclables to an exchange point in return for an entry into a festival competition. This not only helps the environment at the festival, but also rewards attendees for using sustainable practices. An example of a UK venue that uses green techniques is the Excel in London, which received an 86% recycling rate in 2012 due to its material recovery facility located on site. It also has the largest wormery in the UK to produce soil additives from its food and paper waste. This is an encouraging green initiative that reflects very well on the venue, and therefore could possibly attract more clients and visitors through their environmentally friendly reputation. With the ever-increasing reports of global warming, pollution levels and waste management, it is extremely important for event companies to consider using sustainable techniques to ensure that the impacts brought on are minimal on the host community, and future events can occur in the same site for many years. I've been Victor Nice, reporting on sustainability for Channel 9 News.
Thanks, Victor, for that fascinating report on sustainability. We now turn our attention to the third issue being discussed this evening, which is technology. Over to you, Rock.
Thanks, Rob. Technology and events in the 21st century go together hand in hand. Technology can be defined as the application of scientific knowledge for practical purposes, especially in industry. There is even an entire event dedicated to technology use in the industry called Event Tech Live. It occurs in London annually to showcase new event technology developments to industry professionals looking to use these products and services within their events. Within the events industry, technology can range from products such as mobile applications to online ticketing to RFID wristbands. There are both pros and cons to using technology at events. The benefits of using technology include it being efficient and convenient, sustainable, allows companies to advertise and connect with customers online, and reduces any printed material costs. The disadvantages of using technology include reliance on internet connection, limited battery life, and high-priced equipment for ticket scanning. The need for technology depends on the nature of the event itself. Using these kinds of technologies would be beneficial for large-scale events such as Confex, which has an audience of event professionals that may also use the technologies on show at their own events. On the other hand, smaller scale events such as local talent shows may not feel the need to use these technologies as they may be too expensive, and it is possibly not necessary to communicate with their audience in this way. E-ticketing has also become popular in recent years as it allows customers to buy tickets for events online and then either have their tickets sent to them, they can print them themselves, or the ticket can be kept on a mobile device to be scanned at the event. Companies such as C-Tickets use this technology to provide a faster and more efficient way of selling their product to customers. The benefit of using such a company is that the website has over 2 million visitors per month, and the event is promoted for free. They also offer advice on social selling through social media sites, as well as having a client console which gives reports on customer information such as times and sources of booking to help identify trends. This ticketing technology is set to become more popular in the near future, as in 2014 it was forecasted that over 34 billion tickets will be sent to mobile devices over the next 5 years. This move to paperless technology will not only be a sustainable practice, but also increase the convenience of e-ticketing, as it will allow customers to keep multiple tickets all in one place on their mobile devices. Another kind of technology becoming increasingly popular is radio frequency identification, or RFID wristbands, which have an electronic tag in them that wirelessly sends data to other units. These wristbands can be used for entry to events by linking an online ticket to it and even connecting to social media sites. They can also be used to make cashless payments at these events when linked up to a bank account. RFID technology enables attendees to use their wristband for multiple purposes, therefore reducing the amount of items customers have to bring to events, such as smartphones, paper tickets, and credit or debit cards. As we live in a digital age, the marketing and advertising of events has also changed to fit in with the times, and many companies are engaging with their customers on social media sites such as Facebook and Twitter. These pages aim to connect with the attendees of events by updating them with news, posting content from the event such as photos and videos, and also help to advertise their event by posting the ticket links for the event on the page for easy access. These kinds of websites can be viewed on various kinds of technology, ranging from mobile phones to laptops and portable tablets, meaning that they are able to reach massive audiences. Another way of reaching customers is through event apps that are created for specific events and can provide information on the event, speaker lineups, transport information, as well as networking features for attendees to interact with one another. For example, the World Travel Market event has its own app that can be downloaded onto attendees' smartphones and tablets prior to the event, and the 2013 event app was downloaded by over 9,000 people. For events such as conferences and meetings, live video link technology has become increasingly popular, as it enables speakers or panelists who cannot be at the event destination to still participate in the event via online video. Live streaming has also become popular with events such as London Fashion Week, streaming shows to the internet for online audiences. This enables those who cannot attend to still witness what is occurring, either live from the comfort of their home or at a later time, as some of these shows have been uploaded to the British Fashion Council's YouTube site. This technology is making events more accessible to the masses and therefore is a positive step for the industry. I've been Rock Hamland reporting for Technology.
Thanks, Rock, for that interesting report. Our final segment for the night will be a personal reflection on the social media group lecture and tutorial given as part of the Contemporary Issues in Events course on the 14th of November 2014. I chose the topic of social media as it was the area that I am most familiar with and passionate about. As a millennial, I have grown up with social media and therefore have been involved with it in a personal context for the past few years. Through the events management course, I have learnt how it can be applied in an events context to communicate with customers. I find this fascinating as it allows companies to engage with their audience on a semi-personal level and update them with news and offers, which in the past would have had to have been done over the phone or through physical advertisements such as posters or magazine ads. I personally follow companies such as Event Magazine on Twitter to get updates on things happening within the event industry, and I find that this helps to further my knowledge of current event issues. When our group first met to discuss how we are going to handle the topic, we decided that it would be best to split into groups of 3 and work on either pre-event, during event or post-event social media issues. I helped to research the post-event social media section for the lecture, and we set weekly deadlines for getting our research and slideshow content done so we could show each other our progress at each weekly meeting. I also helped to find the reading that we set for the lecture, which I believe complemented our topic well. Overall, I believe that our group worked well together despite some absences here and there and some delays in communication. Everybody worked hard to produce high quality content for the lecture and tutorials. We split the group up so that 3 members did the lecture, 3 did the first tutorial and 3 did the second tutorial. I believe that the lecture team did extremely well and made the presentation flow. I was part of the first tutorial group presenters, and for this we had students participate in 2 activities. The first of these was a quiz on social media statistics that surprised many of the students with facts such as Google+ having more active users than Twitter. I believe that from this quiz, students were able to understand the power that social media has when connecting a company with its customers. The second activity was a social media strategy task that divided the tutorial into groups of 5 to 6 members, and each group was allocated a specific event typology, such as a mega event or sporting event, etc. They then had to create a social media plan for their event that identified the 3 aims of the event, considered the strategies used pre, during and post-event through the use of various social media tools, determine what the strengths and weaknesses of these tools were, and identify any social media tools that were not suitable for their event and why. Every group was given a piece of A3 paper to plan their strategy and connect their thoughts and ideas. This activity was set for 20 minutes and we went round to check on the groups once during this time and see what direction they were taking with their plans. When the time was up, each group discussed their social media strategies and everybody seemed to come up with appropriate plans for their allocated event type. In our feedback, we were told that we probably should have checked on the groups more than once, which is a statement that I do agree with, as there were a few periods of silence when there should have been debate. I believe that my fellow tutorial presenters and I worked very well together, made sure that all of us spoke the same amount, and we also had a backup video in case we finished our activities early, but in the end we didn't need to use it. The student-led learning aspect of the course enabled us to learn about a wide variety of relevant topics within the events industry from our peers. While it was useful to learn about these current issues, the actual length of time that the lectures and tutorials went on for was quite long, when the time could have been possibly used to learn about more technical aspects of the event industry that would complement our theoretical understandings. I feel that with the Contemporary Issues course, it helped to give me a broad understanding of many topics, which will definitely be useful within my future in the events industry. However, I feel that it would possibly be beneficial to link the content given in these lectures to practical settings through either workshops or field trips to places concerned with the relevant topics. For example, the lecture on crowd management could possibly be linked with a trip to a London venue such as Wembley Stadium to talk to their staff about how they handle crowds. I believe that by connecting the theory to a practical setting, it helps to cement the understanding of a topic further. Overall, I enjoyed the Contemporary Issues in Events course and will be looking to apply my knowledge of several current issues to an events job role when I graduate. This has been the Channel 9 News. Thank you and good night.